This is air and water. It's not like it's the NHS or student debt or even war. This is something that impacts every human being on the planet.
We need this stopped. My child's worth this fight.
People who are against fracking are not a bunch of freaks, that they are mothers and fathers and average people who feel that this will cause a profound damage to our natural resources.
When you're high pressure drilling the shale deposits, you're breaking open rock substrate which is going to release naturally occurring radioactive materials. So it's not so much the chemicals that's actually pushed down, it's all the stuff that will slowly seep up. And by the time it comes to the surface, could be anything from 7 to 15, 16, 17 years. By that time, the oil and gas industry could have moved out.
Fracking projects, they maybe last 1, 2 years at most. Then the sponsors declare bankruptcy. They move on. They leave the environmental catastrophe for someone else to deal with and pay for. But the country's debt will have gone up, and the price of energy will not go down. It won't go down. The price of energy will continue to go up.
Over the last 10 to 15 years, the whole industry in America has lost $35 billion. So they've sold all these licenses, a few $100 billion worth, and they've lost 35 billion of that value because it will never be found. It will never be recovered from the ground. Now that's a bit more than JP Morgan's bank bailout, but not quite as big as Citigroup's bank bailout, if you want to look at it in those sorts of proportions. We believe that for the most of the companies that come in, when they say, we're not going to be fracking, we're not going to be doing this, you can almost believe them because they won't. They'll just be doing the exploratory phase. Once they've found what's underneath the ground, once they've conned all their investors, then they will move on.
It's like a Hollywood accounting method. You know, Hollywood, if you're a producer of a Hollywood movie, you get paid by the size of the budget, not on if the film makes any money.
If you follow the money, and you see what they are telling their investors to what they are telling the community, it's two completely different stories. And you know that it's the one where it's about the money that they will be following. They don't care about the community. Paul Mobbs produced a thing called the Frackogram, which shows exactly where all of the industry is linked to the government and linked to the universities who produce a lot of the reports that say, oh, this is safe. So it's just a revolving door from industry to government.
What we're doing, we're fighting a government that have got shares in oil and gas. So really, we've got no chance unless we protest.
We fought everything we can democratically, and we've just been railroaded. So it's the only form of protest that we've got is to actually go to the sites and slow walk or try and stop, or some people do lock-ons or whatever, anything to slow the industry down and to stop them getting their drills in.
Lancashire is being watched all over the world because people know if this gets the go-ahead, it's going to go in lots of other places, and people are terrified. Cuadrilla say a rugby-sized pitch. You've never seen a rugby pitch this big. It's absolutely enormous.
I think it's completely unnecessary that for a handful of protesters we've got 3 or 4 riot vans on a daily basis.
They are just throwing the protesters around like animals.
There was a police surge, and before I knew it, I'd been pushed to the ground. I don't think this is the way to go forward. I really don't. I think it should be dealt with in a much more humane way for all sides.
I'm doing this reporting.
We're being peaceful and they are shoving.
This is a political problem. You know, the police are stuck in the middle.
Saving our water is not a political problem, it's a human right.
We started receiving intimidation, we were followed. My car was blocked in one afternoon down a country lane by a security guard of Cuadrilla taking pictures of me and my kids. But we questioned them why they don't produce their ID or show their ID badges, and they claim they have a special political dispensation not to. At the end of the day though, you know, Lancashire democratically said no, and the anger surrounding the decision to overrule that's not going to go away, it's only going to get stronger.
So if they're not going to allow us to do that, we will end up going and protesting somewhere else, where we're probably less popular than we are here.
So hopefully you're going to pull out of PNR contract with Cuadrilla, and if not,
We'll be seeing you again tomorrow and the next day until you do.
We're having a pop-up protest against Adlington Welding Supplies. They are supplying generators to Preston New Road fracking sites.
This kind of pop-up protest is designed to show the contractors that people are aware that their trade is impacting people via facilitating the fracking industry, and also with the hope of causing a peaceful disruption to their business.
We wanted the trucks to be stopped before they set off to come here, so that our lovely residents, most of whom are elderly, didn't actually have to deal with so many trucks coming in.
Dark o'clock this morning, a group of people came and shut off the page outside the quarry that's been supplying aggregate to the Preston New Road fracking site. I'm sitting on a swing and stopping lorries from coming and going.
I'm really impressed with what you've done in Lancashire, standing up against fracking, and you've actually inspired a lot of other people to question the whole process. If you hadn't done that, a lot of those questions would never have been asked. Well done.
80% of what we know is in the ground, in terms of fossil fuels, oil and gas, need to remain in the ground if we are going to avoid absolutely catastrophic climate change. There's a legally binding commitment to reduce our emissions by around about 50% by 2032. We're not even addressing this yet. We need to slow down, put the brakes on, and we need to start looking to a different energy future.
It is all about community resistance, and it is about keeping that pressure on the industry.
The government hasn't wanted to spend any money on the people of the north. It's not spending any money in those areas. Let's say, okay, you're willing to spend that money. Let's spend that money, but let's spend that money in a wise way, in a fashion that brings wealth to people and job security and environmental and health benefits for everyone, for generations to come. Let's do that. We can do that.
What we plan to do and what we will do is slow this industry down until they realise it is not viable.